Okay, so yo, this chapter of Boku no Hero Academia, chapter 307, I can't think of any words to say for it besides hype. We got the reunion between Muscular and Deku at the ending of this chapter. Like seriously, I am hyped for that rematch, and I gotta be honest, my only complaint about this week's chapter is the fact that it wasn't longer. Okay, so to start the chapter off, we actually got a return from two students from Ketsubutsu, who we haven't seen since I want to say the provisional license exam arc, and that is Shindo Yo and Nakagami Tatami, which I definitely had to look that up because I did not remember what their names were off the top of my head. But still, we got to return to them, and like I said, it's been a while since we last seen them because we haven't seen them, I believe, since the provisional license exam. I think they actually might have been a little bit involved with the last arc with the whole like fight against Shigaraki. But as far as being focal points of a chapter, it's been a long time since we last saw them. So it's actually kind of interesting seeing them again in the chapter, especially since I had completely forgotten about those two characters. But it was kind of cool seeing them like basically going around and trying to convince the civilians in this destroyed city, which I don't think we get a name for the city in the chapter, but it was cool seeing this demolished, destroyed city even a month later and see exactly how the civilians who actually live there are reacting to heroes at this point, which is pretty much as we all expected after the past few chapters. No civilian really seems to trust heroes that much anymore, and even when they have Shindo telling them exactly how dangerous it is to be in this area right now because there's an escapee from Tartarus, someone who lives for nothing but bloodshed and violence in the area that could potentially end up finding them and being too much for them to handle, they still rather take their chances and protect themselves instead of going with the heroes to the evacuation center. Which I gotta be honest with you guys, after seeing how stubborn those guys were being with Shindo and Nakagami, after they left out there, I was like, fuck them. I was just as frustrated with them as Shindo was when he left that place. It's like, yo, if they think they can handle it, then fuck them. Let them handle it. Don't go back for them. But of course, because of the fact that their heroes are good guys, once they end up finding out that there is a villain on the loose and actually could potentially end up putting them in danger, even though they're told themselves to get out of there and fuck the civilians, they actually go back, which, shows exactly how much these kids actually want to be heroes. Because even in the face of danger and knowing that going back and talking to these people and trying to convince them to go to the shelter with them will take way too much time, they still would rather risk their lives and try to help these civilians than just run away to safety for themselves. And you know what? I won't be surprised if that ends up being what causes society to actually renew their faith in heroes. Seeing all these kids, despite the fact that a lot of the pro heroes are quitting around them, seeing these young kids who still aren't even heroes just yet, still aspire to be heroes and actually train and work hard to actually get there, I think that actually might end up at the end of the day showing society that, hey, even if we can't trust the heroes that we're currently stuck with, we have hope for the future that, these younger heroes actually might end up doing a better job. And I'm not saying that pro heroes like Hawks and Endeavor and Best Genius aren't going to be doing their best to basically regain society's trust, but when it comes down to it, in everyone's eyes, in Japan's eyes, they're the ones who fucked up. They don't really know too much about the young heroes, the kids, the people who are still in the UA and all the other things. So it might be easier for society to put their hope and trust into these younger heroes who still haven't even technically graduated from high school and are just aspiring to do a good job of being heroes in the future than it would be the heroes that they already know about that already failed them. And you know what? Seeing these kids work so hard to basically become pro heroes and seeing society actually go and basically put their trust inside these kids might even make the pro heroes work even harder. Now, the fight between Shindo and Muscular actually takes up a majority of the second half of the chapter, and I gotta say, things were not looking good for Shindo at all. And I actually thought that his vibration quirk would be a good matchup against Muscular, but once Muscular put on more layers, it really just nullified it, so he really had no chance of winning that fight from the beginning. And it wasn't like Nakagami could really do anything, because her quirk just allows her to basically retract her limbs and head inside her body, so she really wasn't going to be doing anything in a fight against Muscular. And keep in mind, Shindo's not weak, he's very strong, his vibration quirk is actually very capable. It's just that Muscular, with his layers of muscle fiber, just really nullified it, so he was a bad matchup for Shindo to go up against by himself. And again, I gotta talk about how frustrated I was with the people, with the civilians that they were trying to protect in this chapter. Because even when they saw Muscular out there choking out Shindo and saw exactly how monstrous he was, they were still pushing past Nakagami, saying, hey, we'll defend ourselves and we'll save that kid to show you guys that we can do it better than the heroes. It's like, dude, what were you guys going to do? I mean, granted, we don't know what their quirks were, so maybe one of them had a quirk that actually would have been useful in this fight. But still, you got civilians trying to basically do the job of pro heroes when even the trained students, third-year students who are pretty much the closest to anybody to becoming pro heroes, couldn't even handle this guy. What were they going to do? But luckily enough for them, Deku actually shows up and actually kicks Muscular out of the way, saving Shindo's life. And I was actually kind of surprised by this. Not that I didn't think that Deku was going to show up in the chapter and save him, but I was surprised by the fact that Deku seemed to do it so easily. Because I figured after the last arc with how beat up his body was, even after a month he would still be in the healing process to the point where he couldn't really fight at 100%. But seemingly in this chapter he's back to normal, so I don't know, I guess maybe he got healed up by somebody. I mean, I guess it could have been Recovery Girl who healed him, but if I remember correctly, the last time she healed him, she said that for one, she wasn't going to do it anymore. But considering the fact that he was part of a gigantic mission with all the heroes to stop the biggest villain that they ever seen before, I guess you kind of let it slide the reason why she wouldn't want to heal him anymore, which was that she was sick and tired of seeing him pointlessly hurt himself. I feel like she would kind of look past that at this point. But on top of that, she said that the last time she healed him, that if he were to damage his arms anymore, they would be past the point where even her ability would be able to fix them. And considering the fact that we see him using his arms in this chapter to hold up Shindo, we can assume that they're still usable. So I don't know, maybe she was exaggerating, or maybe someone else healed him. Which, if someone else did end up healing Deku, I would imagine that the only other person would be Eri. And considering the fact that in the last arc we saw Lemillion show back up, and we can assume that the reason why he was able to come back is because Eri was able to gain enough control over her quirk that she was able to fine tune the reversal back just to the point where his body still had his quirk. That means she has more than enough control over her quirk at this point to basically reverse time on Deku's body to heal him properly. And we saw her do that plenty of times during the arc where she was introduced, when her and Deku were tag teaming in order to fight off against Overhaul. So her doing it again prior to Deku leaving UA actually does make a lot of sense. But yeah, we got the big rematch between Deku and Muscular. The rematch we pretty much all expected to happen ever since Muscular broke out Tartarus. And you know, I'm actually really excited for Chapter 308 to see this fight continue, because this was Deku's first big solo fight against Muscular. And the last time they fought, Deku barely won that fight. But now that he has a better understanding and more training with his quirks, I can't wait to see exactly how much Deku wipes the floor with Muscular in the next chapter. But anyway guys, that's going to do it for this week's video. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about the chapter. Like the whole thing with the old man basically, you know, just throwing Shindo and everyone under the bus and saying they protect themselves. Were you as frustrated with them as I was? Because man, I got pissed off more and more as I read them. But in the fight between Shindo and Muscular, did you think that Shindo actually had a chance at defeating him? Or did you think that Muscular was going to win that as soon as he showed up? And Deku finally showing back up in his tattered costume looking dope as hell. Are you excited to see the rematch between Deku and Muscular? Let me know in the comment section down below. But that's going to do it for the video guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Comment down below your thoughts and theories, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.